Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Educated Collins Snap channel. How you doing? So today we've got a hot location. I actually thought it was tomorrow, but we do have this hot location for 24 hours, and it's a spicy one. No, it's not. It's not a spicy one. I'm sorry. I'm lying to you. It's Washington D.C. So yeah, not a spicy one. This is actually this is a common rarity location, and its ability is cards here with no abilities have +3 power. So actually, for me, like I'm gonna enjoy this one because I've been playing a lot of Patriot. As you know, it's very good against bots, and this is just gonna make my deck even more consistent. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about some of the things you maybe could play to get a little bit of an edge. This is definitely a more ignorable hot location. I would say like one of the more ignorable ones. It's definitely better to have ignorable hot locations than ones that you have to play into. So this one definitely you could probably go the whole day without really feeling it. Like you're gonna say maybe there was like less randomness in the locations because this one in a lot of games isn't gonna do anything, and especially if people don't want to like build decks around this particular hot location, you could definitely just go multiple games without really feeling this one. So not a crazy hot location, but still, if you want to take advantage of it, I still have some suggestions. Um, so first things first, let's take a look at what we have here. So really, I mean, what you can do is check your filter, go to no ability, and then just look at everything there and like just say, okay, these are the cards I want to be playing with. Debris, Cyclops, like you could just do that. However, I don't think that's going to be too difficult. I think we just want to talk about like some of the actual key takeaways. Besides the obvious Patriot, but I guess let's start with the obvious thing. Patriot, right? The deck I've been playing recently. Uh, this is gonna be very strong here because you get a lane you win basically for free if you don't mess up, right? If they don't like fully enchantress your whole board or anything like that, you get this lane for free, and it makes things like Ultron so good because even if you have absolutely no buffs, Ultron in Washington D.C. those drones, that's 16 power. Like without doing anything, no buffs. It's just like here you go, 16 power lane just from playing an Ultron. So this card is going to be so strong, um, if you want to play with it, right? Like, so this is actually a card you could like sneakily put in to decks that don't have any other synergy because you're just like, well, it's 8 power base, and then if I don't play into Washington D.C., that's 16 power. So you could make this a surprise card and just toss this into any random deck. Just you're like, well, if Washington D.C. shows up, that's 16 power for free. So I definitely think Ultron is like a card like that just jumps up and feels like, oh wow, I could actually just run this. It's almost like a Doctor Doom, maybe even better in this one hot location scenario. So that's something I would be working with if I were really thinking about how to take advantage of this location. Next thing, right? We want to talk about cards that don't necessarily fit into Patriot, or not necessarily fit, but can be used outside of Patriot, and maybe those decks, you could maybe see you playing a little bit more of because you're gonna have a small benefit there. So here we've got Hood, and we've got Squirrel Girl, and those type of cards. Death wave decks could see a small benefit because you do play those cards. The problem is a lot of the time you're going to be killmongering those cards anyways. But maybe the demon from Hood you can keep around, play it into that location. 9 power, that's quite a strong tempo play for 1 mana. So I do think you could say, okay, this might be the push I need to maybe try playing with this. And then the other one I really have is the Brood. Right, I do think Brood is going to be pretty good. So this opens up Silver Surfer decks, right? If you aren't playing your Silver Surfer decks because there's a nerf, I still think Silver Surfer is actually quite playable. So uh, Brood can be like, oh, okay, with this location, I'm gonna try Silver Surfer decks again, and maybe it's gonna feel a lot better. It's gonna feel a lot nicer to you. So those are kind of the things I want you to be thinking about with this location. Obviously, this is a Patriots playground, but you can take advantage of some of the small other synergies with other deck types. You could maybe try something with Wasp as well. Lockjaw, right? Lockjaw runs a Wasp. So maybe you play Lockjaw into the Washington D.C. lane. If you get the Wasp, hey, that's 4 power. I mean, it's still bad, but it's some synergy, and that's what we like here in this channel. So that's really just the idea, the mindset. Obviously, this isn't a crazy location. This isn't gonna change anything. And if you have a deck you like that you want to just play, like, don't change anything. This isn't gonna do too much. So, but if you do like Patriot, I do have a list, right? So as you know, I have been playing Patriot. I've been playing this list, but this list is for bots, guys. Like people keep asking me, this list for bots. And then also, if you want to replace one, Squirrel Girl, it replaces everything except for the things that are not replaceable is Patriot, Mystique, Ultron. Everything else you can really get away with. But I did make a list. This is basically the same list I have in the Dex video, but people don't watch everything. So here's like the I guess the guide for Patriot if you want to play it. So we took out the Onslaught, we took out the Storm. Storm I think is just really good for dealing with those annoying locations that sometimes bots cheat with, but here you don't really need it. It's okay. Like Storm isn't bad, but it's not like necessary. I like the Invisible Woman just because a lot of people are using Invisible Woman for other deck archetypes, so you're not guaranteed to know exactly that they're playing Patriot. It might be more obvious with this hot location that okay, yeah, they're playing Patriot, but you still have the element of RNG there. And then Squirrel Girl as well is just a very strong card. Basically, anytime someone's asking, hey, what do you replace any card with? I basically say Squirrel Girl because it's just very, very solid of a card. So I definitely think this is the list you want to do. Some tips for Patriot is you don't want to stack all your lane with one one buff. Like you don't want to stack Patriot and then Khazar and then Blue Marvel in one lane because the Enchantress will screw you over. You can maybe get away with like doing that kind of if you put it under the Invisible Woman, because then even if they try to Enchantress, they're not going to get everything, or they're only going to hit your Invisible Woman, and you're not going to get the other cards will be safe. However, generally you might not have that scenario, so you don't want to stack everything because of Enchantress. And then Ultron is your core. Ultron's your key, right? That's your big piece. You want to have a buff, primarily Patriot, and then Ultron is going to give you 12 power base, right, on everything else. But if you do like Patriot Mystique, right, now you're getting big numbers, 20 power on all your other lanes, so you can really start scaling that up. So that's like the big win con. If you think you're not going to draw the Doom, or not going to draw the Ultron, or your lanes are already filled with maybe Central Park opens up or something like that, then you can maybe go for the Doom play. So the Doom play can be really good with the Patriot, that's 7 power base, and that's still pretty powerful, and it also allows you to play the other cards like Squirrel Girl and Shocker and Debris, and really start messing with them. So I do think this is a pretty good list tomorrow or today, I guess, as you see it. Basically now, right, because the location's live. So that's really all. This is a short video. The location's not crazy important. The only things I would say is take a look at trying to utilize it. That's the wrong list. You can maybe use Ultron as a surprise mechanic because it's going to be 12 power or 16 power base just on Washington D.C. plus having that 8 power you're putting somewhere. So, and then any decks that can really take advantage of those no ability cards like the Hood or Squirrel Girl or Bucky Barnes, like those cards, right? You can really do a lot of work with. So I do think Death could have quite a bit of an advantage there. Same thing with Wasp, right? That's 4 power 0 mana card is pretty powerful. So there's a lot of like sneaky things you can do because this is a hot location. You can really expect to see it a lot of the time. So definitely think this might be an interesting one. Depends on how you approach it, or this could be a completely benign location. But hopefully you guys enjoy this quick little hot location video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.